Hello, 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 and welcome to the very first episode of my podcast called Booze, Books, and Boundaries. This is episode 1 I would like to call the Texas Donkey. This is presented by Bounty Bliss, the podcast where we sip something good, talk our talk, and protect our peace in this messy ass world because minding your business matters. If you're ready to put yourself back on your own priority list, head over to bountyandbliss.com for wellness essentials, journals, and resets that help keep your mind and your spirit soft in this hard ass world. Now today I'm sipping on a Texas Donkey. I'm going to show this to the camera. Okay, this is my remix of the Moscow Mule. Get a little ASMR in there. Woo! It's the perfect drink for today's conversation about politics, positivity, and keeping it real when the world is acting the fuck up. So, this is just a reminder, I am not a licensed professional. I'm just blessed with the wisdom of the ancestors, life experiences, and some good ass common sense. Just some good old fashioned common sense. So, take what resonates with you and leave the rest right here where it is if it doesn't. All right, so let's get straight into segment 1, something I'd like to call Straight No Chaser, which I will be doing every week. I'll have a signature cocktail based upon what we're talking about. Today's drink is called the Texas Donkey. I made this with some Sir Davis, lime juice, ginger beer, a little ginger simple syrup, some bitters, and if you fancy a little fruit smash. I did peaches. My smash was kind of whack because I didn't have a real smasher. All I had was a wooden spoon. I'm not in my house. I'm in temporary housing right now. So with that being the case, I don't have all of my bar supplies that I typically would have. Anyways, it's got a kick to it, just like this episode. So now, why did I call this the donkey? First and foremost, it's my homage to the Moscow Mule. But it is also the Democrats' mascot. And right now, I just feel like the poor Democrats here in Texas are trying to hold their mule and stand strong while the Republicans are out here playing Hunger Games with people's voting rights and civil liberties. Okay? They out here breaking all kinds of rules. I just really needed to talk about it because I have tried really hard. I had to take a sip. I've tried really hard to keep politics off of my Bounty and Bliss platform. I try to keep it light and keep it positive. But sometimes the shit is just too heavy to stay silent. And I just can't do that all the time. This is not how I'm built. So I know I'm not the only one that's out here struggling trying to reconcile joy with justice. So with that being the case, this past week I kind of broke the protocol and posted a little bit about politics, which I typically try to stay away from. But it's really, really hard to stay positive. Saying that, we're going to move on into our second segment, something that I would like to call Liquid Courage. Now, this is where I confess what I've been struggling with over the weeks, and I try to reflect on what is worrying me, and try to kind of give some insight on what I did to process those feelings and come through on the other side, and what kind of helps me through it. So this week, my liquid courage... My liquid courage is admitting that I can't always be positive and affirming all the goddamn time. I have to work to be peaceful and mindful most of the day. My internal dialogue is crazy as fuck. And the things that go on in my mind, I really have learned with age and wisdom that everything that I think does not need to come out of my mouth because it can be really hurtful, number one, and it's not always constructive. Sometimes internal dialogue is exactly where it needs to stay, and that's in your mind. You don't have to say everything. With that being said, sometimes you do. Sometimes you just got to say shit and make it plain. And it's hard to be positive and be zen all the time when it feels like the world is on fire around you. Like the sky is literally fucking falling. And it's exhausting. It's exhausting to see what's going on around us, especially knowing when you did your part and people that didn't are now feeling the fallout and have buyer's remorse. It's even more difficult. I don't really have the patience to listen to your complaints at this stage of the game. I just need you to show up when it counts and do your part when it is asked of you in that time and moment, and get outside of your own frame of mind and think about the whole picture and not just what's in front of you. Sometimes saying and getting shit off of your chest is a part of self-care and healing as well. And being honest about when you're tired and angry and frustrated and scared. Okay? When you're afraid. Wellness does not mean that you have to pretend that everything is okay all the time, because it is not. And that's exhausting to uphold an image of positivity that at some point can really become toxic, because you are not dealing with things in real time as they happen, and you're not really processing the feelings, and you're not being authentic. It's hard, but you cannot let it drown you. So it's okay to process the negativity, but you can't sit in it. You got to get over it. You got to feel it and then deal with it and work through it and do your part and change what you can. And when it comes time, your time is called to help in whichever way you can with whatever resources that you have available to you, then you need to do that. Honestly, this week, the way that I got over it is I had to sit and write my way through it. Now, I have started reading The Artist's Way this past week. I bought it a couple of months ago. I just hadn't had a chance to sit with it. It's just kind of been sitting on the end table collecting dust. So I also purchased the audiobook because I don't have to actually sit down with it and read. I can be up and moving and doing a lot of things and running errands as I delve into whatever I'm reading. I do a lot of reading via text to speech, and I also do a lot of reading audiobooks. You know, I have been using my Reset and Radiate guided journal heavy this week. And let me tell you, it has kept me grounded. I'll be real, I got so caught up in all of this political chaos that's weighing in on our lives, and I needed something to help me recenter. And this is where the journal comes in. It's a 90-day reset with prompts and reflections that help you kind of pinpoint the hidden roadblocks that keep showing up in your life, the stuff that's quietly messing with your peace and blocking your potential. And what I love is it gives you space to reset one day at a time with mindfulness and intention. I've also been reading The Artist's Way, and it talks a lot about brain dumping every morning. And I actually use the blank pages at the end of the week in my journal to do just that. And it felt so good just to be able to get everything out of my head and onto paper so I can proceed with the rest of my day without all of that angst and confusion. So if you're ready to reclaim your mornings, your peace, and your focus, go grab the Reset and Radiate guided journal now at bountyandbliss.com. All right. That deserved a sip. So anyway, really had to sit with my journal this week and just word vomit the rage out, because for me, that's like therapy in a notebook. So if you don't have one, head on over to bountyandbliss.com and get one. There's a digital version. If you prefer to journal digitally, get the digital version. It's a little bit cheaper. And you can print out the pages on that as well. So whatever tickles your fancy, head on over to Bounty and Bliss and it's there. Trust me, you need an outlet, and that's a good one. So welcome to Books and Bottoms Up. Look, I have a feeling it's going to be my favorite part, because this is my weekly book review. And this is where I share my highlights, my insights, and then rate it with my signature system of either cheers, which is for quality of reading, with the type of writing, is it a good book or not? And then shots for the spice, because I like smuts. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and refill your glass at home. I'm going to take me a quick sip. Man, this shit is good. I really do like it. I actually have some fresh peaches in here. I got some lime. I muddled mine with peaches. But it wasn't a good muddle. You know what I'm saying? So the peach flavor isn't really that prevalent because it was large chunks and I didn't get to really, get it muddled down really well. Anyways, this week's book is a book called In Love with Miranda McKenzie by NAKO, the one and only NAKO. I don't know who knows. NAKO is one of my favorite urban fiction writers. And if you know, you know, because the Underworld series for me is goated. Do you hear me? You got Malachi and Jay, Demi and Papa. Papa. Miko and Nash, the Christ family, and then you got L Boogie and Nas and Kennedy and Nas and his bevy of broads. And then you got MJ with her tragic ass story. Oh, it's so sad. And then the arraignment. So it goes in that order. Those are the couples of each book in that series. And then you have the arraignment series. And that is like the equivalent of Marvel Universe. You got the NAKO universe for me. Because after reading those books, you like fall in love with those characters. You love them deeply. Some of those characters that we fell in love with in the Underworld series aren't here with us anymore, but we still have their babies. And so we're still reading about them and book nieces and nephews that we still checking in on. So in this book, the main character is Miranda McKenzie. And she is full figured. She's fine. She's an author. She's a motivational speaker, podcast host. So that sounds a little familiar. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, let's just say I saw myself in this character. I was like, okay, Miranda, I see you, girl. The only thing missing for me is this 6'4" reform hustler turned Renaissance man. And I need, like, where the hell is my karma at? That's the only thing I got. But he'll show up when it's time and when I'm ready for him because I ain't got time. Anyways, she meets her reflection in him in a kismet way, but her pride and fear block her from the love she deserves. Instead, she goes with the safe choice. And she goes with that thinking that that's the best move, only for him to play in her face and cost her everything that she worked so hard for. So this book, it dragged me by my edges. Do you hear me? Because how many times have we settled for the safe bet instead of choosing the real one out of fear? Like, how many times has fear or pride kept us from our blessings because we clung to what felt safe? So, I always say in my affirmations in my videos that you can't grab onto your new blessings if you're holding on to old baggage. And that's what happened in this story. In this story, Miranda got dragged through hell and back and dragged Carmen along with her. Like, to tell the truth, she drug his ass right through hell with her. That was a good man. When you say that was a good man, Savannah, like, he kind of just hung in there. He let her rock. But whenever she was ready, he was like, I'm here when you're ready. He still did him in the meantime, between time. But she like really did play in his face a lot. And so he was like, look, when you're ready to get your shit together, I'm over here chilling, but I ain't gonna sit up here and play stupid for you. Reminds me of how they say like doctors make the worst patients, because she's this driven motivational speaker and she has the best advice for everybody else. But sometimes you can have the best advice in the world, present company included, and not be able to apply that shit to yourself. And so it takes work to be present and aware and self-aware. Even though you could have overcome the biggest obstacles in the world, you can reach a really high level of success. It could be really impressive. But even in all of that, you more than likely still got some shit with you that you need to work on. You know what I'm saying? Because we all have blind spots, especially when it seems like you're doing the right things, right? You did the safe thing. You went to school. You got the job. You got married. You had the kids. You did what you were supposed to do on paper in general. It's easy to kind of fall into a self-righteous zone. Like, what the hell I need to work on? I did what I was supposed to do. I played my part. But you still know sometimes when you are going against your own blessings. A situation may not be the right situation with you, or you turn a blind eye to some shit that you weren't supposed to in order to keep the peace, or you kind of shrink in your life to maintain that space and maintain what seems good on the outside, even though you know that the foundation is fucking crumbled. And you hold on to those things for the sake of family, for the sake of security, all of these things. I say all of that to say, in the end, for this character, when Miranda fell in love with herself and let go of the facade of everything else that she was trying so hard and had worked so hard to build up, everything fell into place. It all seemed like it was crumbling, but in the end, it all fell into place when she fell back in love with herself. That's when her love came, and that's when she was able to settle into the love that she deserved. That's when her career took off in a better way, where she didn't have to be performing so much, because you can lock yourself and paint yourself into a corner trying to do the perfect and the right things all the time. And sometimes when you learn to love yourself the right way, the better life gets. So for this one, I'm giving it 5 cheers, because for me, it poured into me. It made me reflect, and it entertained me the whole way through. It was really good. Miranda was hilarious in the book. I really did highlight a lot of stuff. There was some really good quotes in there, and I might post some quotes from the book on my feed this week. I'll make a few reels of that so you can get some of the quotes from the book. But I'm also going to give this 3 shots. Pew, 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 pew. Because the smut wasn't frequent, but it was fiery. Like, it wasn't a whole bunch of fucking on every other page, but it was definitely a quality over quantity situation. And it was some grown folks fucking going on. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, he is 6'4" and he is all man. You know what I'm saying? A good book bag. I liked it. I didn't. It was enough. I didn't feel dirty. Like, I wasn't ashamed to listen to it while I was washing dishes, and the kids was walking through. You know what I'm saying? It made me feel like, God damn. You know, it wasn't that, but it was good. It was steamy enough. So a good 3 shots. It wasn't like I wasn't clutching pearls, but it was good. Go ahead and download In Love with Miranda McKenzie by NAKO, by the author NAKO. I highly recommend it. It was a really good book. I read a lot. So it does get to a point where I'm kind of like, ugh, these stuff that comes up is recommended on my Kindle, and I don't want to read that shit. I'm like, I'm tired of these damn books. So I'll go do a search because this did not pop up. Like, I follow this author, and she's one of my favorites, but it didn't pop up in my algorithm. I just did a search because I'm like, I just started typing in who haven't I heard from in a minute. It's certain authors that I look forward to reading their books, and she's one of them. So I just happened to do a search for her book and search to see if she had dropped anything, and this was in there. She just dropped this in July. So I was like, oh shit, it was like a pleasant little surprise. Um, so I downloaded it and it was a pleasant surprise. I thoroughly enjoyed it. So go ahead and check that out. I have Kindle Unlimited if you do not, but go ahead and do that. And I want to hear from you. So if you have a book recommendation you want to hear me give a review for, go to bountybliss.com on the vault. There's a form for you to fill out at the bottom for book recommendations. And my blog is also there if you want to take a read for some of those. And all of my published or soon to be published books and journals will reside on the vault. That's where the link for this podcast will also be on there. That is where all of my published media will be held on that part of my website called the vault at bountybliss.com. Go ahead and fill that out if you have any book recommendations for me, and send them all. You hear me? Send the smutty, send some soulful, some self-help, motivational, some messy, ghetto, hood shit. I read it all. Okay. I'm trying to change that though. I'm trying to be a little bit more mindful of what I consume, but I still like a good smutty book. You know what I'm saying? If it's good, it's good. And if you read L. Cason's Demon or whatever that book was, shit was good. Don't matter that he was crazy. It's just a good book. Good writing is good writing, right? Anyways, I want it all. Send me your recommendations there or put it in the comments. I peruse and I really do engage in the comments. So you can put it in your comments or drop it. I'll definitely get it if you put it on the website. All right. So this little segment is called Pour Your Heart Out. Now I'm doing this as a cold read, so I don't know what is going to happen on this, okay? This segment is where I share listener letters or internet threads and talk about boundaries and growth. So since this is our first episode, I pulled a Reddit thread that I thought was interesting. And let me tell you something. Boundaries are not mean. They are medicine. So you can't heal if you're constantly being cut open. Saying no doesn't make you cold. It makes you whole. And if you want your story or question featured, go to bountybliss.com to the vault. And there's also a Pour Your Heart Out form for you to fill out where you can write your question or comment or story. And I just might be reading it this next time. All right. So this story, let me wet my whistle before I get into this. It says, am I the asshole for treating my coworker differently after she accused me of SA when I saved her life? Eek. All right, it says, I'm a quiet guy and genuinely friendly. I treat all my coworkers as friends. About 2 months ago during a work lunch, one of my coworkers started choking. So I did the Heimlich thing to help her. And after she's in the clear, the others cheered. I asked if she was all right. She just nodded and headed to the bathroom without a word. So I didn't think much about that. Until 2 days later, I got called into HR for my inappropriate behavior. I was confused and asked for more details, and that's when they told me that my coworker had filed a complaint stating that she felt my touches when I was helping her was inappropriate. My body was too close, and she felt my private touching her. I gave my statement, and they put me on ice. I was still working with potential to be removed while they investigated it further. After a week, I was in the clear. I returned to working normally without fear. But I did start distancing myself from my coworker. She tried to apologize, which I accepted, and tried to explain that she had to tell me that she has trauma, but I still take precaution and only treat her as just a colleague. I no longer talk to her unless I need to, always keeping distance, no longer inviting her out unless there are others there. And she could feel my hesitance towards her and how I no longer treat her the same as others. She tried to say that I'm being ridiculous and petty, but I told her that I'm just looking out for myself. Am I the asshole? Okay. So, no, I do not feel like this person is an asshole for becoming distant, because after that person showed you that they don't understand propriety very well, and they're the type of person that take common situations and kind of turn them and twist them into something different. You do have to handle them with a long handled spoon. So you definitely need to impose boundaries. And the first thing I saw that kind of raised a red flag for me was him saying in the very beginning that I treat all my coworkers as friends. That's what he said. That's mistake number one. Everybody at work is not your friend. I very much believe in compartmentalizing and having work relationships and having personal relationships. I could work with you for 20 years and go to lunch with you every day, but you are still my work friend. And we may be I might consider you a friend, but you are a work friend. And I tend to learn that I don't typically mix my friend groups too often. I have my personal friends that I grew up with. I have my best friends from college. I have co-workers that I may have worked with, or organizations I may have been a part of. My kids' team parents, their mothers, so PTA mom, like whatever. I very much keep my relationships separate and compartmentalized. Everybody doesn't need to know each other, and they really don't always gel. It may be limited situations. If I really feel comfortable that I can be around them and be my authentic self around a person, like if I had an event or something, I would mix the parties. But for the most part, keep work friends at work. They are not your family. Your family is your family, and you may have friends that are your chosen family. But for the most part, work friends and coworkers are coworkers and work friends. That's it. That's all. First things first, I really truly do believe that there is a boundary that needs to be set about your groups of friends and relationships. Professional relationships should remain professional relationships. If you are in an organization, I personally believe for the most part that those relationships should stay within the confines of those boundaries of that relationship. That's just me though. Some people do that, but I feel like 9 times out of 10 you get bit in the ass when you mix people that should not be mixed. And that's just my personal lesson that I've learned over the years. So you could take that with a grain of salt. So that'll wrap up our portion of the Pour Your Heart Out segment. Please, like I said, go to bountyandbliss.com/the vault and go to the Pour Your Heart Out form at the bottom of the page. I'll put the links in the description on this for this podcast so that you can access those directly. But go ahead and put in your request. If you have a question, anything, comments, those types of things, go ahead and put them there. And I look forward to hearing from you because I want to see what you guys have to say. And I just might be reading your letter next time. This part is called Welcome to the Woosah. This is the segment that I will do before we go. So it's more of a grounding and a relaxing part of the show that we do before we leave after all that ruckus that we just set. And then I will give you an affirmation and then we're going to close. All right. So I want you to unclench your jaw and I want you to relax. Take the tongue off the top of the roof of your mouth and relax your jaw. And I want you to roll your shoulders back and then breathe in deeply and let it out slow. And then I want you to remember that you don't have to carry the whole party. You don't have to carry the whole country. You don't have to carry your whole family today. You just need to carry yourself. And remember that your peace is not optional. It is a priority. And that is the end of episode 1 of Booze, Books, and Boundaries. So we sipped on the Texas Donkey. I got a little bit left. I got a little corner. I'm going to finish up real quick. Shared my liquid courage of the day. We turn pages with NAKOs and love with Miranda McKenzie. Go get that book. We poured our hearts out and we woosah together. If you love this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your homegirls. And you can always find me at bountybliss.com for tools to help you mind your business and protect your peace. Now, until next time, keep your drink full, keep your book spicy or soulful, and keep your boundaries solid because minding your business matters. All right? Don't forget, drink your water and mind your business. Y'all have a blessed day. Love you. Bye.